So we measure personality traits. But what does it mean? Well, we increasingly do transactions with strangers, from online dating to sharing cars or sharing flats and even hiring people we have never met before. But how can we trust those people? Well, in the past we used to have common contacts, but today it's not so easy. So what we have today is Facebook. So you can check my profile, you can see my pictures, and you can decide that I look like the adventurous type of person. But the thing is that I have only done that once in my life. So it's a little bit biased. But the same happens with my LinkedIn profile. I can say anything I want about myself, about my career, my education, and no one's going to check that. So they're both very highly biased. So what is funny is that we crowdsource reviews of almost everything. We crowdsource reviews of books, of films, of any kind of websites, but we don't crowdsource the reviews of people. So what we are is a social personality test, where instead of you answering the questions about yourself, other people answer the questions about you. And we create reports like this. Let's see if it works. It's the big challenge. Okay, so I'm going to sign up with my own Facebook account. We use Facebook because it makes a lot of sense from the technical point of view, and because that allows me to know who are all my friends. So when you start, we guide you through a nice little tour that shows you, well, what's going to happen. You will have to answer a few questions about your own friends, and when you invite all those friends, they will be rating you so that you can prove your reputation to other people. So I get questions like this. When I start, I'm asked to answer 30 questions. Who finds it more difficult to get down to work? So this is probably about conscientiousness. Now here I have 5 people from my network. Pedro, I met him at my MBA in Chicago. Pablo is from university. David is from school. Silvia is just a friend. And Koichiro is a friend of mine from Japan. So they are completely different people. They have never met before. They will never meet. But I'm going to create a relationship between them. As soon as I choose that I've met from these 4 people, the one I believe makes it more difficult for him to get down to work is probably Pablo. So I will choose Pablo, and I get another question. So who carries out his or her plans? Again, completely different people. Again, Geoffrey is from my MBA, Miguel is from Stuttgart. So in this case, I think that I will probably choose Miguel, because he's really conscientious, he just always delivers. So I will get those questions, and I keep answering. Now think about what has happened there. I spent 20 seconds to answer 2 questions. I was very honest about the answer, and I have created relationships between 10 people. So I have created reviews for 10 people in 20 seconds. So it usually takes about 4 or 5 minutes to answer the 30 questions that we request. And when you go to my reports, the reports that you get look like this. So in my own case, 49 people have answered more than 800 questions about me, and they perceive me as being the executive type, because I have certain levels of perseverance, proactivity, or extroversion that together form that reputation and that personality. So if you would look at the report, the red, I don't think you can see the different colors, the red is what I think about myself. So it's a proper self-evaluation, like a typical Myers-Briggs. And the blue is what people think about me. You can see it's actually pretty accurate. The only difference is here. So conscientiousness. So apparently, I think of myself to be a structure and focus on the big picture, and people perceive me as being, more attention to detail, more conscientious, which is fine. It just allows me to learn more about myself and to be more self-aware. Now, in the same way that you can trust a review on Amazon because it has been reviewed by sufficient people, you should be able to trust these reports because of statistical validity. But why is this useful? Well, people don't want these reports. It's just pointless to have a report like this on its own right. What people really want is to get laid, to find jobs, and to have fun. So let's see how we can help websites to do exactly that. So this is our first partnership. We closed it last week, the student job. They help students find jobs while they are at university. It could be working for Starbucks. So Starbucks doesn't really care about whether you have a degree in physics or history. It just doesn't matter. What matters is, are you extroverted? Are you proactive? Do you care about your customers? That's personality. So what we're helping the student job is to connect education and careers and experience with personality. So what we're doing now is to connect that website with our site. So I will get a nice little request, just like a typical Twitter kind of request, connect, and when we come back, there you are. You have my report as a widget inside these different websites. It just creates a more rounded view of a person, and it creates a one-stop shop for recruiters, which is extremely valuable for this website to provide exactly those type of jobs. But it's not the only example. We just closed another partnership. This was our second partnership. It went live literally this week. This is a marketplace for skills. And again, it makes a lot of sense to complement the skills, like whether you're a good Java developer, with personality, because it just creates a one-stop shop for what kind of person you really are. In the future, we can see how we could complement almost any profile on the internet to complement those profiles that you write about yourself with personality. For example, take a look at nannies. I don't have babies, but if I had a baby, I would probably want my nanny to be emotionally stable. It just makes a lot of sense. Christina can choose what she says about herself, but then let's complement it with some endorsement from her own friends about what type of person she is. And the same could happen for home away, or couch surfing, or flat sharing. You probably want someone who's conscientious. It just makes a lot of sense to complement those profiles that you write about yourself with personality. Or even online dating. Online dating might be slightly different. What you want is to find people who match with your personality. Here, in this example, for Cupid.com, and this is art. We don't have a partnership with them yet, but wait for that. It would make a lot of sense that you don't just say about yourself that you are generous and honest and romantic. No, other people say that for you. That endorsement creates your reputation. In the future, we can see how we could complement almost any profile on the internet, starting with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the first source that you would go for when you are going to meet someone or when you're going to see someone you have never met before. If we could complement careers and education on LinkedIn with personality, it creates a lot more rounded view of the person. It allows you to make better decisions, creating a more efficient market of trust, of what you really can expect from that person. Now I'm going to, okay, I'll go back to it. Okay, well, back to the slide, sorry. Okay, there you go. So when you put all that together, what we have is people who want to be more self-aware and want to learn about themselves, people who come from potentially mass employers and universities. In fact, we closed just a partnership, or not a partnership, a proper deal with Chicago Booth. I'm flying to Chicago next week to give a personal branding workshop using Traity as the core tool, so that their students, their MBA students, learn more about themselves. And if that works well, it will be rolled out to the rest of the university and school. And with those plugins were just to complement those profiles with personality, and the fact that those users need to invite their friends so that they can be rated, what we're creating is a worldwide 360 feedback. 360 feedback has been working inside companies for many years. We're just using Facebook as a platform to create a massive 360 feedback so that we can create that efficient market of trust. Now, just to give you some level of traction, when a user signs up, as you saw in my example, they, on average, answer questions about 30 people. We only have 900 users so far, beta users, we were testing the profile. They have answered questions and profile 36,000 people. I mean, if we can only reach the success of Social Bro with 150,000 people, we could potentially be talking of mapping the personalities of 20 million people. And how useful is that for all sorts of applications? Imagine that people who are proactive and perseverant are also more likely to be able to pay a loan on Wonga. It just allows people to make better decisions based on trust. Or the same for marketing. Marketing is usually demographics and behaviors. What if we could complement that with personality? Because personality is a big part of how you make of your decision-making process. Now, this is Dave. Dave has been on the different presentations before. We just found this week, actually, that although Dave McClure has never signed up to Traity, because 4 of his friends have already answered 14 questions about him, he's already on Traity. He's perceived actually as a project manager because he's perseverant, extroverted, and not the most agreeable person, apparently. So, apparently, it's not yet statistically reliable. It's only 4 people, so we show that it's not statistically. But agreeableness is not his strength. So now, when you measure reputation, the science behind it is absolutely critical, and that has been our focus for the last 3 months. In terms of methodology, it's all about reducing the sociological biases present in other personality tests. Like on Myers-Briggs, you can almost be any person you want, because if you get a question like, who is more likely to, are you more likely to go to a party or stay at home? Well, I will go to a party. Okay, so that means you are extroverted. So it's all about reducing the sociological biases. Matthew Mothner is one of the most renowned sociologists in the fields of power and status, and he has joined our advisory board. In terms of the algorithm, it's all about accuracy and reducing dishonesty. We're using an algorithm developed at Harvard in the 90s. It's currently used by Xbox 360 to measure the gaming skills of players, and we have adapted it to our needs. And finally, in terms of psychometrics, it's all about credibility. We're using all the right questionnaires, and we have Michal Kosinski, who is the director of psychometrics at the University of Cambridge here in the UK, to join us on a part-time basis. Now we're a team of 3. We joined Seedcamp in Berlin 3 months ago. I'm Juan, the CEO, MBA from Chicago booth. Jose is our CTO, PhD in intelligence systems, and Borja is our chief guru developer. Next week we're moving to Silicon Valley with 500 startups, which is very exciting. And I want to thank you everyone for your support, for listening, and especially to Seedcamp for all these fantastic 3 months. Thank you.